Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News. Always late, never breaking, unreliable coverage that you can't count on. Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, today is an interesting day. Apparently, Phil has decided to let loose some of his situations, some of his woes that are holding him down. Riveting. With that being said, he's actually broken it up into two parts. One, apparently it is what a lot of us have called great people online, great people on YouTube, on Twitter. Everybody knew it. It was taxes. It was taxes. The IRS will get their money, one way or another, hell or high water. Apparently, someone didn't let Phil know that. Apparently, Phil thought he could run from one state to another, not realizing that there was taxes in that state too. Absolutely amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, before we start this broadcast, we hope you guys are doing all right. And we hope that you're paying your taxes. Okay? God bless all of you. And God bless all the money that needs to go to your taxes. It's a scary place out there. Don't end up like Phil. And even worse, Phil could have gone to prison. He still could. Probably not. He doesn't. I don't think he owes enough. But don't get it twisted, though. Don't get it twisted. You will go to prison for a couple of $1,000s if you think you won't. You're crazy. But there's a couple of things I want to point out to you. As you know, recently I've been putting a lot of tweets up from Dragon Killer. There are also a couple of other people that I usually throw in there. Eddie, for example, he's usually there with the financials. And then we have another person who, King of Crybabies. There's actually a YouTube channel for him too. But he's on Twitter. And he lays down the funniness. But also, he also has great points too. So you're going to find a little bit of everything in the repertoire going forward. I hope you guys enjoy it. And for all of you who have asked, I did actually start a Twitter. If you guys find me, I'll start to use it. Well, kind of use it. I'll definitely see what you guys are saying and whatnot. It'll be fun. So if you guys can find me, you guys can find me. And there's a couple of things that Doom, shouts out to Doom yet again, as well as all of you, had actually left a comment and actually brings up some very good points. So let's go over these points real quickly, or very quickly, before we get into the actual video itself. The video, by the way, is by Snort Burnell. DSP Gaming reveals the problem. But as we all know, Phil's whole life is a problem. First things first. During the Thanksgiving stream, which is when all this happened, Phil made about $800 in tips alone. If you combined what he made in subs and cheers, he made over $1,000. Now, I will also have some screenshots from Eddie in the video going along, where you're gonna see it's deeper than that. There is certainly a large amount of money that was brought up that night, quite a bit. Was it enough to cover the alleged $10,000, even though he says it's not 10, but the alleged $10,000 he owes? No, but it's pretty close. Keep in mind on that. So another point is this whole Connecticut tax attorney. Now, I don't remember him mentioning anything about a tax attorney before this particular point. He said that he had some dean at a school, at a prestigious university, actually, who was doing his taxes for him. And so now he's bringing this whole situation up with the whole, and, you know, this whole nefarious forces behind, that was surrounding him, that was getting ready to do him in. Keep an eye on that, too. And as you all know, everybody had their ideas about the audit, or was it he owed back taxes, or whatever the case may be, which, as you know, sorry for me stuttering. As you guys all know, we were right on all counts. But Phil denied it. At least he tried. Another thing is, Phil is going to try, to use this same tax agent to get out of these taxes by filing malpractice. And granted, he doesn't have a grounds for that, but we'll get into that as we go along. Even though Phil has said, I'm not a tax attorney, there should have been some common sense put out there somewhere. Who could say? When you're eating those Hungry Man TV dinners, you get what you pay for. And sometimes you're not in the right frame of mind. That's why Phil needs his home-cooked meals. His home-cooked din-din, if you will. And the last thing, and most importantly, the information that was allegedly leaked out to the Better Business Bureau, to the Washington State Department of Revenue. This may have something to do with the hack that happened in August, which Doom was also the first one to break that here on this channel also. At the same time, though, Phil, somewhere down the line, may have tried to apply for a business tax break of some type, something along the lines, to allow him to try to skim by a little bit, to try to yet again game the system in some way. We're going to have to do some research on that further to figure out what the deal is with that. And I think that's about it. Yeah, he goes over all the points. I'll actually take a screenshot of Doom's post and put this in the video also, because I'd like all of you to see it, to be perfectly honest with you. Also, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. We're already at the 6-minute mark. As you know, I talk way too much. This is going to be broken down into 3 parts. And the reason why is because after checking this out, this will be the second time you watch a Snort Burnell's video, as well as a couple others. Shouts out to Davidson. Shouts out to Mr. Stuffs. Shouts out to... Who else did I check out? There was somebody else's video I checked out too. I can't think of his name right now. But I've checked out. I checked out his video. It was about 2 hours long, but I didn't catch all that. I just went to what his thoughts were about the whole tax situation. Each one of them brought something to the table that makes me think that there's a real problem with this situation. But enough of me talking. Ladies and gentlemen, this will be broken down to a 3-part special investigation report. 3 parts, ladies and gentlemen. This video will be the first part where we're going to just go over the problem. We're just going to go in and delve into his problem. But the second video, ladies and gentlemen, is how did this all happen? I'm sure Doom, as well as other people in the comment section, will help me bring the picture together, as well as people on Twitter. Please look out for that. If you guys have any theories or anything that you want to talk about, those nefarious forces who may have brought this all upon Phil, leave in the comment section below. It may get appeared in the next video. And the third part. Is this true or is this bullshit? Because I gotta be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, that's what Phil does. And so to sit there and scam some people out of their money and some large nefarious act and whatnot could very well be just another great con on Phil's part. But that will be our last part. That's what we'll close off on. So this is what you guys have to look forward to over the next couple days, maybe a week. As well as the Black Friday, his thoughts on Black Friday, which was complete contradiction on his part. But that is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, you're here for the news. Late news. DSP news. So allow me to get into it. So ladies and gentlemen, yet again, this is DSP news. Always late, never breaking, unreliable coverage that you can't count on. A GTG Network and Productions. You guys know the slogan. So let's go ahead and get into it.
God. Sound good?
And honestly, now I'm going to tell you guys the truth, okay? To be completely honest.
Yes, because I think you're lying to us anyway. Here we go.
With all of you. It's not just one thing, it's two things. One thing is very personal. It's regarding my health, and I'm not going to even tell you the details about it, because honestly, someone's health is their own business, unless there's a reason to publicly come out and talk about it. I'm not going to talk about that portion of it at this point. Maybe in the future I will bring it up, but I've been having health problems. I've actually, see, this is the thing. You guys don't even know. I have health problems. I've had chronic health problems my whole life that I never told you about. And it's not the...
This is crazy. First off, yes, ladies and gentlemen, Gary's back to work, by the way. He had his vacation, so the damn car alarm. Second thing, did he have the gall to say that I'm having some health problems, I'm having some health issues that I don't feel like he has to disclose? I'm sorry, did you not throw Leanna under the bus for that? Because, oh, you felt like you didn't have to, and you're saying with your particular situation, oh, I don't have to go ahead and let you guys know this. This is personal, and I need to keep it to myself. Was her situation not personal? It's funny, too, Phil, because I always wanted to address this, and I might still do it in another video, but it's funny how you were running around talking about people being mentally ill, this, that, and the third. And though I wouldn't say Leanna was mentally ill, she had some issues. We'll just say that. Because, you know, I don't mean to disrespect her or anybody else who were dealing with anxiety. But it's funny how I used to throw that comment out a lot, knowing that your girlfriend / fiance was dealing with the same thing. But anyway, enough of that. So what's good for the goose isn't good for the gander. You can sit there and say, oh, I'm going to keep this to myself, but I don't want to talk about, but I'll put her under the bus all day. Because of what, Phil? Because she interrupted a stream that wasn't about shit anyway, and you probably got twice as many views when you came back and exploited everything, which in turn you lost her anyway. What do you have to lose now? You said you're gonna, ladies and gentlemen, I will hold on to that for a later time. DSP News.
Back injury, it's other stuff, and I don't let it affect me.
And Gary said sorry about the car alarm. We're sorry here at GTG Network.
Even though I have chronic health problems that I don't tell you about them, and I don't let them try to hinder what I do here on stream or whatever. Okay. But I've been having a few complications that have been negatively affecting me. Let's put it that way. To the point where long term, could it affect me really badly? Yes. Not yet, but long term it could. And I am worried about that, and that's always going to be something. Health is something we all worry about all the time, right? So I'm not going to go into detail, but FYI.
But yet you won't go outside, you won't try to get any exercise, you won't go to the doctor, but your health is something that everybody's worried about. Gotcha.
That's one of the things that's been affecting me. And yes, eventually it could really negatively affect me, all right? But the other thing that's been happening at the same time is that, let's see how I begin here, all right? Just listen to the whole story. Don't assume and jump off or anything. Listen to the whole story. Here's the whole story. When I started, way back when I started doing YouTube for a job back in 2011, okay?
I'm more about looking forward than looking back.
I knew that this was going to be something different, something weird. It's not like I'm having a normal job, a 9-to-5 job. It's not like it's easy to keep track of all your finances and everything, right? It's going to be very difficult. I'm going to have to keep an expense, a running budget. You know, here's all the expenses I spent on the business that maybe I can, do a write-off on my taxes. Here's my money. Do I want to keep a separate bank account? Very, very complicated to do what I did.
Wow.
All right, it is. And every year, it's a nightmare to try to figure out at that one time of the year when I have to figure out, gee, what do I owe taxes on this? Do I owe that? Do I get a refund this year? Do I roll it over? How many expenses can I write off? And so, when I...
Wait a second. Now, and I mean this recently, ladies and gentlemen, didn't he say just maybe a month or two ago that he doesn't pay his taxes like normal people, that he has to actually pay taxes every few months? You know what I'm saying? Like 3 months, what is it, like every 3 months he has to send some money out for taxes and whatnot, and then he also has to pay taxes at the end of the year, or something along those lines. If any of you guys know what I'm talking about, then you'll kind of get what I mean. And if you know what video that was on, please leave it in the comment section. I very much appreciate it. But I remember it was only like a month or so ago where he said that he has to pay taxes every like 3 months, and I remember listening to that and being like, what? But still, this is a very important story, ladies and gentlemen. Phil could lose very much everything. So we'll try to be diligent in the next story. Here we go.
started way back when, making money doing YouTube full-time, I got a tax attorney to be my full-time tax attorney. Now, I didn't just get any old tax attorney.
I did research.
All right, I did research. This is back when I lived in Connecticut, back in around, I'd say, was it? I'm trying to remember if it was 2011. I don't remember the first year that I actually did this. Okay. So, I did research. I found a guy in Connecticut, 30 years experience, actually taught accounting and finance at universities before, okay, and had these awards and degrees, and it wasn't his full-time job to do it 100% of the time, but it was one of his sources of income that during a year he had clients who he would do their taxes for them. And
so what is he exactly? Either he's a dean at a university, he's a tax preparer, or what? Like, what exactly does this guy do exactly? Or he's a tax attorney. I mean, yes, it's very possible that he's all three, but what is he exactly, Phil? Because, like I said, when you first talked about your taxes so long ago, you said that you had a dean at a university who was the one who was preparing your taxes for you. I don't remember you saying anything about him being a tax attorney. Let's continue.
When I lived in Connecticut, from 2011 to 2014, when I was doing this as a full-time job, my taxes were done through him. And every year what I would do is I put together this spreadsheet of all my expenses and send all the information to him. And he basically put it together so that it would be easy. All right, an easy system, no problems, nothing, Every year I just sent him the information. He has a couple questions. Boom, we file, we're done. All right. And I pay a shit ton of taxes. Now, one of the major reasons why I wanted to get out of Connecticut is because Connecticut has what's called a state personal income tax, meaning whatever you earn in the state of Connecticut, the state takes income away from you every year as a tax. So does the federal government. Now, the state doesn't take nearly as much as the federal government, okay? But they take a decent chunk. And I was like, man, I could literally leave the state of Connecticut and move anywhere that doesn't have a state income tax, or I could move to a state that has a much lower income tax and pay less taxes. And what would be the loss? I work from home.
So basically what you're saying is you try to evade taxes. That's basically what you said. That's basically what you're doing. And you thought that you could do it through you had like some legal backing behind it. And I think what happened was you thought there was some type of loophole that you could jump through to kind of evade you from that. Because Lord knows, Phil, you've been saying that this has been a business for you for years. Almost since you got smacked out of Blip. You remember that speech, right? Where this guy is so jealous that I was able to parlay this into a business of sorts. Yeah, you remember that speech, right, Phil? I do. That's because I got a Blip project on you coming up soon. But yeah, you remember that. Let's continue.
Live stream, right? So, what's the big deal if I were to move out of Connecticut and go somewhere else and do this? I'd be basically just making more money doing it because I don't have to pay all these exorbitant taxes that I'm paying in Connecticut. So at the time, all right, I did some research on what states did not have personal income tax. I started looking for houses. You all remember this. If you're longtime viewers, you remember this. It was like 2013, and then 2014, I actually started house hunting. And at that time, I was in constant communication with my tax attorney saying, gee, what would happen if I were to move, say, to Washington or to Texas or to one of these states that doesn't have a personal income tax? He said, basically, that was it. You just don't pay personal income tax. You just pay the federal. You're good to go. I was like, wow, that's great. That would be really exceptional. And so as things progressed, right, more and more. Eventually, I came out here in April of 2014 to Seattle area, Washington. I saw several homes while I was out here with my then girlfriend. And we decided on this house. We thought this house was the perfect fit for us. And before I ever took one single step towards buying this house, okay, I up front asked my tax attorney two important questions. I said, number one, are there any other taxes that I'm going to have to pay if I move to the state of Washington outside of the federal income tax? That's number one. He said, no, it's just the personal federal income tax you'll have to pay. Number two, I asked him, in writing, I still have the fucking email. I said, since I'm moving to Washington State, doesn't it make sense that I should get a tax attorney out here who basically has more knowledge of the state laws and stuff like that? They'll be more knowledgeable about that. So basically, I'm going to say goodbye to you. After this year of taxes, once I move to Washington in the summer, I'm going to basically not need your services anymore. That makes sense, right? And he came back to me and said,
oh no, I'm still able to handle all of your tax concerns. No problem whatsoever. You'll still be fine. don't worry about it. I can take care of it. You know, I'll do the research. I'm well versed, and we'll take care of all your. I'll still take care of your taxes for you, no matter what. Okay.
Okay, right? I'm not the professional here. He is. This is his job. He's a tax attorney. I'm not even exaggerating, guys. I paid this guy ridiculous amounts of money. I mean, 1 year I think I paid him, I'm not exaggerating, $1,500 to do my taxes, okay? That was the year that it was the most convoluted. I had like the...
All right, let me cut in. First things first. For people who own their own businesses, $1,500 ain't shit in taxes. Or at least that's nothing to have someone prepare your taxes. Because if not, Phil, that's what happens. That's why you hear everything about these celebrities, about these athletes who go broke because their taxes weren't being paid. You know what I'm saying? You get what you pay for, and you better pay somebody who's knowledgeable and who has the background and the certifications needed to go ahead and do your taxes. Now, this guy right here doesn't sound like he's completely inept. This dean or whoever it is that prepares your taxes, he doesn't sound like he's inept. What it sounds like is you may have not kept all your information with him on the up and up, so he just went along with it. Now, the thing is, though, is if this guy is a dean, if this guy is a real tax attorney, he may not be completely well versed in how the procedures for taxes are done state by state by state, but he should be able to know enough to be like, okay, you're thinking about moving to Washington State. Give me a couple of days to go ahead and look into what they have going on over there, and then, you know, make stuff happen. Let me see what you're going up against if you're really talking about making this move to Washington. A quick Google search could have done that. You want to know why? Because I saw Davidson's video, which we're going to actually jump over to him at the end of this video, where he actually found an old clip of you talking about your taxes. But the point being is, a quick Google search had all that pop up. After I saw his video, I took 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes, and I found it all. I found it. It wasn't hard. It wasn't hard at all. So you couldn't even do that. And that's the least that you could have done. If not for you, then you could have asked Leanna to do it. Because let's be honest, neither one of you had jobs. You know what I mean? So if you guys are moving to another state and you guys have no real taxable income, because you pay the taxes on your actual, your income. You know, Machinima cuts you a check. They take their piece, YouTube takes their piece, they cut you a check, and you have to actually pay your taxes throughout the year or at the end of the year or both. Same thing for Leanna when she was living off you. So how did you guys think that you didn't owe some type of business tax or something along those lines? You ran out of there because you wanted to avoid state taxes and went somewhere else, and you essentially fall under a business because you don't have an employer who is connected to the IRS, who deducts your taxes from you every time you get paid. How is this hard? I don't understand. Here at GTG News, I'm paid in more than just bourbon, scotch, and whiskey. I'm just saying. Actually, can I write that stuff off on my taxes? I can, right? Yeah. So there you go. Jim Beam, Jack Daniels, and what else? And Captain Morgan is tax-free. At least for me, anyway. DSP News.
Most income streams, and I had all this shit going on, and it was a lot of extra work, and he had to get it together, all right? I paid this guy a ridiculous amount of money to do my taxes. Now, you may not realize this, all tax attorneys cost about that much, all right? The only other alternative is to do your taxes yourself, which I never would have done right. I would have fucked them up. I wouldn't have done the right write-offs and stuff. Or you could go to like a place like Jackson Hewitt or H&R Block, and they charge around like $500, but again, they're not full-time tax attorneys like this guy is, okay? So, that's what happened.
But wait a second, you said this guy right here was a dean like at a university, so he's not a full-time tax attorney either. More importantly than that, with the two places that you just mentioned for tax preparations, if there are any mess ups on their part, they'll actually pay to actually have it done and taken care of with the IRS. I mean, granted, you have to pay a little bit more to have them on your side, but they will do that to not only cover you but to also cover their name. And since it is your MO to throw money at people and not do any research of your own, that should have fallen just fine. And you would have saved yourself an extra grand. $900. Just saying.
I moved across the country to Washington State as of, what was that? I think it was July 2014. I was told, don't worry about state income taxes anymore. You don't, obviously, you're not going to owe Connecticut. You don't live there anymore, right? And no big deal.
You did have that delinquent water bill, though. Let's not forget that.
You know, just pay the federal and you're good to go. So I did that from, you know, middle of 2014 until now. And, you know, everything's fine, no problems or nothing, all right? You're not going to believe this. You're seriously not going to believe this. Because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? This whole situation I'm in, yes, it is, I'll tell you right now, my tax attorney is at fault for some of this stuff to happen. But wait till you hear the full story. You're not going to fucking believe it. Are you ready? Get ready.
Get ready. So what was the first 7 minutes and 45 seconds of this? And I was talking for a good 8 minutes on top of that. I'm so confused. And I'm not really living up to my well, I am living up to my reputation. This is pretty unprofessional. Yeah, it is. All right, never mind. Let's go.
Hold on to your butts.
Riveting.
So I noticed about early on this year, probably early to middle 2017, I started to get all these extra mailings in the mail, right? Magazines, ads, trade papers. I'm talking like construction magazine, science, you know, scientist, doctor, publishing, right? And I'm
well, you do have a degree in science, so I guess that kind of makes sense.
looking at this shit right now. I know I didn't subscribe to any of it. And it says on it, on the mailing, addressed to DSP Gaming.
Yeah, it probably should have been DSP Enterprises, but, you know, Snort Burnell's right. But, what are you going to do?
Interesting, right? So I start getting all this mail about DSP Gaming. And I'm like, why am I getting all this mail I never signed up for DSP Gaming? And like I said, it's all business-related, trade-related mailings. I'm not exaggerating, folks. I'm not even exaggerating. Right now, every 3 days, my mailbox is full. Because whoever this was that did this signed me up for, like, every possible free publication that there is regarding, like, business and trade. And I'm getting, every 3 days, a stack of mail this high that fills the mailbox. So every 3 days, I have to go empty the mailbox because someone did this to me. Okay?
That's insanity.
So, that...
Wait a second. So, how about you just check your mail every day like every other person does? Like, what did you expect? I mean, how are you not checking your mail every day anyway? For someone like you who owes so much money to everybody, you should be on top of your bills a little bit more consistently than that. Just saying. Nothing you could do.
That happened, and...
Buggy mail mechanics, I guess.
I've been putting up with that all year. There's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing I can do about it. I just gotta put up with it.
Alright, let me stop. Now, I know I'm not the first person that's going to say this, but you couldn't have called and just... Because, you know, most of those magazines... Actually, I'm pretty sure all those magazines and publications have a 1-800 number on there that says that, hey, if you want us to take you off our mailing list, call this number. It's literally 2 minutes. It's usually an automated system, and then you're done. So when you first saw all this stuff happen, why didn't you just do that then? Instead of use whatever you end up doing. I assume you just went ahead and threw everything away and you shredded it or whatever the case may be. Why didn't you just go ahead and ask them to discontinue sending you these publications and take your name off the list? You could have done that. And it wouldn't have taken you much time at all. Life mechanics, right? Buggy life mechanics. I got you.
Throw it out. That's why I got shredded. I shred it all. It goes to the recycling. All of a sudden, in... Oh, God, now I can't remember if it was even late August or early September at this point. All right. I get a letter in the mail stating that due to some information that has come across the desk of someone, that they suspect
That I, Phil Burnell, own a business called DSP Gaming, and I'm doing business in the state of Washington, but I'm not doing it properly. I never registered the business, which is legally required in the state of Washington, and I'm not paying taxes. Anything for this, right?
Yep.
Now, to clarify, not personal income tax. There's no state personal income tax in the state of Washington. However, in the state of Washington, they have what's apparently, which I don't know, I'm not a tax...
Okay, no, here's the thing, Phil. You have your federal tax, and then you have a state tax. What is this personal income tax thing? Either you have a state tax or you don't, Phil. And just be honest. You're running from state tax. We got it. You're running from state tax. No problem. Just say you're running from state tax, because that's what you're doing. But just because you ran away from state tax, what made you think that there wasn't going to be a business tax somewhere? And does Connecticut not have a business tax? I'm gonna have to look. I think it's called it's a B&O, a business and operational tax. I'll have to look that up.
Attorney, it's called, it's some kind of a business. I don't even know the technical thing about it. Some kind of a business tax. That if you're self-employed in Washington and if you fit certain criteria, like you make a certain amount of money, you get income from certain sources, or you receive certain tax documents from the people who you have contractual agreements with, you're required to register as a business and to pay this business tax in the state of Washington.
And how did you not know that when you decided to move to Washington? How did you not know that when you applied for residency? How did you not know any of this when you went there? You were too busy running away from state tax that you didn't think that you were going to have to deal with or see if they had any type of business tax? Is that really what you did? Because if that's the case, then you are... I'm going to try to keep this professional. You're incompetent. And it's funny because I see people in other people's comment sections, as well as this one, all the time who try to stick up for you, and most of them make rather valid points. But this right here is just stupidity. Like, this is true stupidity. This is where, as people say on Twitter, your greed overtook everything else. It's the same reason why you lost your friends back in Connecticut. It's the same reason why you lost your fiance, and now you're going to lose your house. And to be honest with you, this should all happen. You deserve everything you're getting out of this. Yet again, I have said this before in previous videos. You would rather scrounge around and try to get cents instead of taking some risk and try to make dollars. And in your business, there isn't any real risk. When you see a trend going on, you go along with it. And then you try to make it your own, or you try to give it your own spin. Are you going to be successful right away? Probably not. But you'll get a niche audience that'll appreciate that. But that's not the point. This is you're an idiot. You're an absolute idiot. And you didn't take any time at all to do any research on anything to make this happen for yourself. So yeah, it is your fault. Yeah, could the guy who was preparing your taxes probably have taken a couple of minutes to do that? He could have. But since you didn't push for it, he probably didn't push for it either. I don't know. You're both held responsible as far as I'm concerned. Let's continue.
Okay. So I get this letter, and I'm looking at it like, what the hell is this, man? Are you serious? Like, what could this be? Could this be true? This is bullshit. And immediately I read it, I'm like, well, I don't own my own business. I don't, I'm not registered. I don't own my own business. I don't. Legally, there's no business out there that's called DSP Gaming.
Maybe not, but I've already explained this, so I'm not going to go over it again. But the point is that you do own a business. And of sorts. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to pay your own taxes on the income that's brought to you. So theoretically it is. Now, you don't have an LLC or anything like that, but still. You don't have a business license, but theoretically you are operating an online-based business that brings in revenue so you can live. That can be taxed. Period. And plus or minus a couple of different inconsistencies here or there, you pretty much fall under it. You've been calling it a business for years, as I had said earlier. More importantly than that, it's funny how these other YouTubers who are fucking shills and who don't know shit about shit and yada 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 and who are screwing up YouTube, they can pay their taxes, but you can't pay yours. Now, don't get me wrong. You fall into a category of YouTubers who do try to pull bullshit like this, meaning cheating on their taxes or try to evade taxes altogether. You do fall into that category with some notable names that you're not going to really like. That you yourself feel have shitted on in the past at one time or another. Funny. But yet again, you've been calling it a business this whole time. The government looks at it as such, or at least the state of Washington does. So pay your fucking taxes. DSP News.
Gaming is just a YouTube channel, right? There's no business called DSP Gaming. It doesn't exist. So I knew right from the criteria listed in the letter that this wasn't correct.
You trying to game the system, huh? Be like, oh, this is buggy wording. I can get around this.
Something was not right here. So I called the guy back and left him a voicemail explaining. I said, listen, you got it wrong. I don't own my own business. I'm not buying or selling. I'm not doing a service. It's internet-based videos that people put ads on. It's way different from what you're describing in your letter. Therefore, I don't think I'm qualified under. Wait
a second. You just said you don't provide a service, but you put videos on this video sharing site. They give you ads and whatnot, and you were working for an MCN that basically paid you to continue to put out content. That theoretically is your service, so to speak. You're a proprietor of shitty videos, and by definition, Machinima or whoever the MCN was throws ads at you, which you put on your videos, and YouTube and Machinima makes money off it, and you get what little residuals that comes out of that. So in theory, you were providing a service, as minuscule as it was, theoretically.
To worry about it or whatever. So he came back to me and he says, well, I got to do my due diligence here, okay? So at that point, I tried to get my tax attorney from Connecticut involved. All right, I tried to say, what's going on here? You know, this guy is saying that maybe I qualify for having to register as a business and pay business tax and all of this. What's going on? All right, at the same time, I was still in contact with this guy who apparently was investigating me.
And who's this guy? What department is he actually from? Can you give us a name? Can you give us something else instead of calling this guy this guy? Like, you know what I mean? You would think for someone who's so, I wouldn't say you're very detail oriented, but you try to at times, especially when you're trying to push a heavy narrative. You won't tell us who this person is? Okay, we'll come back to that later.
So I asked him, I said, you know, I'm just curious, how did this happen? You know, how did you find out about DSP Gaming? Because it's not registered anywhere or anything like that. And he said, well,
we got an anonymous tip about a company called DSP Gaming that apparently was operating in Washington State. And the real reason that we got a whiff of you is because you were on a mailing list for small businesses in the state. Like, you're registered on all of them. If you take a look, it's DSP Gaming. It says you're the sole proprietor, and it lists your address, and they signed you up for all of these. I said, well, that makes sense. Man, I'm stupid.
Yeah, you are.
That's why I'm getting these.
Okay, so this goes back to what I had said earlier about him just taking himself off the mailing list. But then again, because he was going through Comcast, and Comcast is not exactly the most reputable company, per se, but it's been said that they've been known to give off share the information of people who have business lines with them. It's been said that they've done that. Not just them. I'm sure other companies have been accused of doing that also, or do also sell your information off to third parties. I mean, you know, anyway, that's not the point. The point is they've been known for doing that. So it's very possible that's also how he got hit on that list too. But certainly, if he had ended those publications the first month he had that, he might have been all right. But then again, whoever this anonymous source was definitely covered their bases by making sure you weren't on just one or two of those mailing lists, that you were on all of them. That's impressive. That's impressive. But we'll delve into that more in part 2, where we'll try to drum up some suspects. The Illuminati, maybe. Whoever. We'll drum that up later.
Contractor magazines, that's why I'm getting all these business-related mailings that I didn't sign up for. That's why I'm getting them all. Someone went out there with my information and registered me as a small business on all these free mailing lists, and then whoever it is that takes care of, you know, the state tax or business tax in Washington got an anonymous tip and went out and looked and said, oh, look at this. If they're registered for these mailings, they must be real, and then they started investigating me.
Unbelievable.
That's what's going on. So that's what happened initially. So I go to my tax attorney, and I say, listen, we got to get you in the loop. You've got to talk to this guy, because I don't know anything about this. You told me you were taking care of this when I moved out here. Obviously, it sounds like this guy's mistaken. Let's figure this out together. And as I told him, that actually had a thing, is like an authorization form that my tax attorney would have to fill out in order to communicate with my personal info. It's like permission for him to give my personal info to this guy who's inquiring about business tax, okay? I send him the form, and he goes, Phil, I don't know if I'm comfortable filling out this form. I really feel that at this point, since it seems like, you know, this might be something serious, you should get a tax attorney in the state of Washington.
That's your fault.
Yep.
You're the one who created that economic situation. And I'm like, what the fuck? Are you fucking serious? I'm not a whiny baby.
Keep in mind, this guy, 30 years experience as a tax attorney, taking thousands of dollars from me, all right, to do my taxes over the years.
like Snort Burnell just said, that's what we call street smarts, Phil.
He blatantly, I have it in writing from him, in an email that I saved on purpose. In writing, it says, you do not have to get another attorney. I will still be your tax attorney. He's taking on all that responsibility for me moving and doing my taxes properly in the state of Washington.
I'm a brain-dead idiot.
Literally says, well, I think you should just get another tax attorney now in Washington. So I went back to him, as politely as I possibly could, because it wasn't very polite. And I told him, absolutely not. You're responsible for this. You were the one. I have it in writing. You can't try to, you know, weasel your way out of it. I have it in writing stating that you were taking on this responsibility, and I think that you need to fill out this form and start talking to this guy right away. Okay? So he did. My tax attorney either they filled out the form, apparently sent it to the guy and said, I'm willing to talk with you or whatever. So then I went back to the guy, who was investigating me for this business tax. And he even said, I recommend at this point, since it seems like your attorney from Connecticut is trying to shirk responsibility, you go get an attorney in Washington who's going to be able to analyze the situation, or else, you know, I'm going to end up holding you liable, and maybe you're not, you know. You got to do your due diligence, cover yourself. Okay.
Yes, common fucking sense. Here's the thing, Phil. Since you only pay this guy in Connecticut to do your taxes, essentially, and that's it. It's not like you were paying him money all year round and whatnot. Even though you say you're paying taxes 4 times a year, you haven't said that up to this point in the video yet, so it is what it is. Why didn't you consider going to someone, a tax attorney in your state and be like, hey, can you look at this, and this is what my circumstances are. Could you take a little bit of time and just give me an idea of what I might be going up against? You're not necessarily retaining his services. You're asking for, what's the word for it? You're just trying to, you're basically asking for, just an overall look on, this is what my circumstances are. I'm not in any trouble or anything. I'm just new to the state. I have a few questions. Would you mind possibly walking me through this? Which most attorneys will. They'll do it without charging you anything. So, yet again, why didn't you do that? I understand, like I said, you threw all this money at this guy, his 30 years and his degrees and all. You saw all those really nice books in his office, and you were like, ooh, and you just kind of went along with it. But now look at you. You're in a messed up situation, and the person that you've retained, that you're talking to about these taxes that you owe, these back taxes, is telling you, hey, you probably should retain an attorney in our state. Like, how do you jack this up? It's just, it's going to be very hard for people to try to defend you after this. That's all I'm saying. It's going to be very, very hard.
Okay. So, I did 2 things. The first thing I did is I did research legally online, and I said, I wonder what the liability is.
Oh, so you did that now because you think you can get over on this guy because he just screwed you. So now all of a sudden we want to do some legal research. Okay, I got you. So at least you're capable of doing it. That's what you're telling us now. That's what you're telling the audience that will potentially listen to this later on, that you're capable of doing research. Okay, I just want to make sure.
A tax attorney who blatantly lies in an email and says that they're going to do due diligence and basically negligent, you know, because let's say, for example, the state of Washington finds me guilty of not filing business taxes for 3 years, right? Because now at this point, that was August, September, so it was around 3 years at that point of unfiled business taxes, if that's the case. What's the liability on the tax attorney who screwed up? And I found my answers. The answers are simple. Basically, I'm responsible for the money, the actual tax money.
As you should be.
I'm responsible 100% for the tax money that's owed to the state.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no matter what, because I owed it if I owed it. All right. Now, what I could do is I could sue my former tax attorney.
Why am I toxic?
That's funny.
For fees, damages, and interest. Because basically, when you have unpaid taxes for an extended period of time, you get fees that are associated with that, late fees, as well as interest that's accrued on that makes it even higher. Plus, there may be, like, you know, let's say, for example, well, I had to get another tax attorney and I had all this cost and everything. I could try to sue my former tax attorney for all of that. Now, that would take forever. It would take years. It would have to go through claims court. It's basically going to be, it would be a very time-consuming and an expensive process. And the problem is, my former tax attorney is in Connecticut, so it would be a nightmare for me to do that because I'm not there, right? So basically, I'm shot. Like, I don't know how I...
Wait a second. So, it's time-consuming. It's going to cost you money, of course. And because you don't live in Connecticut, and that's where this guy operates out of, you feel like there's a problem. But yet, it wasn't a problem to send your information over there to him to do your taxes. You're telling me that it would be hard, it would be difficult for you to send your information to the court systems in Connecticut to file an injunction against this guy because you feel like he's put you in a really bad situation given the circumstances. You're telling me that would be difficult. You're telling me because you don't have the money that you would be willing to let this guy essentially get away with ripping you off, and this is your words, not mine, getting over on you and ripping you off instead of trying to get some type of reparations out of this. Yes, it's going to cost you money, but keep in mind, if they find him guilty, you could probably even have, you could actually probably have him take on the responsibility of your lawyer's fees as well as court costs and still get everything else if your situation is ironclad. But you would rather give up than to actually try to do anything, which hurts the liability, and
really the credibility of your story. Because if this happened to anybody else, as stupid as the story sounds, and it sounds more and more stupid as I'm listening to it, if your story is actually true, anybody else in your place would sue. And would sue. And defer your taxes because of the circumstances. Now, granted, you would have to go through the court system to see if you would have the grounds to do that, and if there was malpractice on his part, which is what you're on Twitter talking about doing anyway. But they would try to. You're not even willing to do that. You're going to let this guy just rip you off and get away with it and just end the story. Absolutely amazing.
To get anything out of my former tax attorney, because I don't have, number one, I just told you guys, I'm strapped for cash. I'm literally living paycheck to paycheck. I have just enough money to pay for everything I need to pay for. How am I going to have enough money and time to sue this guy when I have to keep streaming and keep paying the bills and everything? It's not possible. I can't do it, okay? The other thing I did, all right, the other thing I did is I got a new tax attorney, all right? Now, this new tax attorney, no surprise, all right? No surprise. Very expensive, all right? No lie, I'm not going to lie, $800 just to retain the services of this attorney, which I don't have. I had to put it, guess what, on a credit card, which I desperately am running out of credit. I have almost no credit left. I'm to the point where I'm massively overextended. The way it was working was I was paying everything down to the point where every 4 months I could pay my taxes, which would bring all my credit cards and shit back up, and then I would pay it down gradually, and then the taxes would do again, it would go up, you know?
Okay, so I was right about the paying the taxes every 3 or 4 months. Okay, so there we go. You're putting all that on your credit cards, and you thought this was that system right there is stupid in itself, so I don't even want to talk about that. Let's talk about the bits, the tips, the donations, and the cheers and whatnot. You especially lately on stream, you've been making some pretty good cash. More than enough to be able to have some money put aside to retain this lawyer. Now, that's the reason why I'm going to end up doing the whole Black Friday video. And let's see, who's done that? Snort Burnell's done it, and Mr. Stuffs. We're actually gonna do both of those. I'm just gonna put them together because they're a nice two. They're a really good 1-2 punch. We're gonna do that one next before I get into part 2 of this whole saga with this tax situation. And the reason why is you had enough money to go and order these headsets for Black Friday, but yet you don't have $800 to pull your ass out of this situation, which you've known about for 2 months. 2 months you've known about this, and yet you found that, oh, you know what? This is a really good idea for me to buy some overpriced headsets for the business, when you could have gotten something much, much cheaper, much, much more affordable, while you have this while you have these legal troubles over your head. That made sense to you. I've said from the hop that I don't understand how people support you, and I still don't. I applaud them for being loyal, if you want to call it that, but I don't understand it. Here we go.
So I'm like, on the ends of my extension here. I'm completely overextended. I have no liquidity. I'm to the point where I can't afford anything. Okay?
Which is another problem, ladies and gentlemen. I don't understand how anybody can be a follower of this man, and he can't take care of himself. I want you to think about this for a minute. He sits up here every day and talks shit about other people, slanders, talks down to, bans the people who have supported him at one time or another just because they have a different frame of thought than himself. He's jealous of everybody. And yet he can't do anything. He really cannot do anything for himself at all. He can't take care of himself, can't take care of this business. His life is in shambles and has been for a long time, and yet you would ask this man for advice on. He's been asked on advice from things about life, things about school, things about all these things. Politics, which is a joke because he doesn't know shit about politics. Why would you go to this man for any type of advice when you see his life's in shambles, and he can't pull himself out of his own problem? What makes you think any of his words could help you? DSP News.
So I have to get a new tax attorney. I had a meeting with this tax attorney. Didn't tell you guys, but this was all happening behind the scenes. That's what I mean. All this shit was happening behind the scenes for months. And basically the tax attorney told me he thinks I do owe some kind of business tax. He doesn't necessarily know how much, because there's some factors involved. What's qualified as a certain kind of income versus another kind of income. What's business taxable and what's not. And in addition to that, the fact that because now haven't paid business taxes for 3 years.
That's insanity.
Since I've lived in Washington, there's not only going to be the taxes that I owe, but there's going to be those fees, interest. And he says, I told him the whole situation. And he basically said, listen, this is extenuating circumstances where you, number one, there's no way legally you could have enough knowledge to know what you owed for taxes here or not. Number two, you have it in writing from a 30-year experienced tax attorney in Connecticut saying that he was doing it right and he would do it. So basically, you have extenuating circumstances to prove your innocence. So somehow...
But then where does personal accountability become a factor in this situation? I mean, seriously, when does that not play a role in some way, shape, or form? He's not a complete idiot. He may be very good at trying to portray that now to try to cover his own ass, but you have to think the person he's talking to get these back taxes squared away has to be thinking to himself, well, how did this guy not look up some of this stuff? How is it that this guy was able to make money for as long as he did and not know at least a little bit about what's going on? And I'm sure he boasted about, oh, well, I do have a background in business, and how do you not know this exactly? See, that's what I'm saying. This story doesn't even sound right. But we're going to keep going. We'll play into the narrative for now. Let's try to give him I'm not going to give him any credit, but we'll see if his story starts to pan out somewhere.
He might be able to get some of what I owe disbanded, okay? But the problem here is that there's still going to be a chunk of money, all right, that apparently I'm going to owe. And the question is, what's the amount going to be? We don't know. It's probably, and he gave me an estimate. He says, just a rough estimate. It's going to be thousands and thousands of dollars. It's not going to be $10,000, but it could be thousands of dollars. And the problem is, with the interest, fees, all that's going to be associated with not paying this for years, it could end up being way more. It could balloon.
It could, but you could theoretically have the fees and the interest and all that. You could have that waived. Sorry. It's possible that you could have that waived and just pay down the principal. Because regardless of any situation, you're gonna, the state of Washington wants their money. They may be willing to waive all of the fees and all of the interest and everything just to get the principal, and then you just have to make sure that you pay that principal every year from there on forth. Well, as long as you're operating in the state. So it is what it is. But if you're really going to let that old man in Connecticut, no disrespect for him being old, but if you're going to really let that man in Connecticut get over on you and not sue, not do anything, you're a fucking idiot. And if you're forced to go back there, if you're forced to go back to Connecticut, you better sue. You better sue him for malpractice, especially if you get hit with a hammer. But the thing is you're leaving stuff out of this. There's stuff that we don't know. There's details that you normally would tell us in certain situations that you're not telling us now, which makes me think that some of this isn't right. I'm not saying that you're not telling the truth, but some of the story doesn't sound right. Let's continue.
Because of that, all right?
I'm here to play games.
So, basically, I'm in a position where I'm screwed.
And actually, Snort Burnell brought up a good point. Think about this for a second, ladies and gentlemen. He's a Let's Player. He's someone who plays video games for a living. And this is the type of problems that he has. They're all his own fault, by the way. Don't get it. Don't feed into his broke man Jedi mind tricks. It is his fault, by far. It is his fault. But he's somebody on the internet who's paid to play video games, and he can't even get that right. So let alone if he can't even do the job that he's paid to do, what makes you think he could handle any real world stuff? No pun intended.
And I said, so what's the next step? What in the holy hell do we do? He said, well, what we need to do is we need to talk with this guy from the business department or whatever, work with him, figure out exactly what he wants us to do, go with his wishes, and basically get you to consider what's called tax compliant status, all right? So basically take care of the back end shit before I worry about the future shit, okay? Now, what he thought is he's saying, since this is a extenuating circumstance, and I told him all about my finances and everything. I was like, listen, sorry, I just don't have the money. Like, if you right now put down a $5,000 to $7,000 tax bill in front of me and said, Phil, you owe this, I have no money to pay it. I don't have enough credit to pay it. Nothing. Couldn't pay it. There's nothing I could do to pay you. It would just go delinquent, And he's like, well, what I think I'm gonna try to do, all right, is I'm going to try. Well,
Phil, it doesn't just go delinquent. I mean, they'll still give you some time, but either A, you try to work out a plan with them, which is what you should. You're not going to do that, though, because you're an idiot. But you should try to work out a plan with them, or they start seizing your property and you go to prison. Just something to think about. It takes a while for you to get to that particular point, to the extremes of it, of you having all of your assets seized and then going to prison, but it will happen. Because right now, you're talking about, oh, I can't pay this, so I'm just going to let it go delinquent. So you've already given up before you could even really try. All right.
To get it, so that whatever you owe ends up being on a payment plan. And he says, I've seen payment plans that have gone as long as 5 years. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that for you. Maybe I can get you on a 3-year. But what I'm going to try to explain to this guy during this process is there's no way you have the money to just pay him. So if he wants his money, he has to wait. And he's going to have to be working with you because it wasn't your fault. You didn't know you owed this money. You know, if I had known I owed the money, I would have budgeted. I would have had it and been paying it all along, right? So that's one issue. The other issue, all right, is that now moving forward, I also have to start paying this tax. And I've been told that basically whatever this tax is going to be for the year of 2017, which we have no idea yet, it hasn't been calculated yet, is going to be due on January 31st of 2018. What's it going to be? Could it be $1,000, $3,000? I don't even know what it is. And again, I don't have it. You know what I mean? I just don't have it.
I need that money. I really do. I need that money to pay my bills.
Mm-hmm.
Now the good news is this is not absolutely world-ending horrendous yet. All right. The good news is a few things. Number one, and no, by the way, this is not the IRS. People are saying IRS. The IRS is from the federal government. That's not what this is at all. This is completely different. It's state-based. That's why when people are saying, oh, it was the IRS. No, it's not the IRS. The IRS has nothing to do with this. And by the way, thank God, I confirmed with the new tax attorney, my taxes are good in the federal level. Like he says, everything here's right. He's like, this guy did everything perfect at the federal level. It was just he didn't file anything for business taxes when you moved, and that's his fault. Okay? But...
See, how does that make sense? No. How does that make sense? Okay, so your federal taxes are on the up and up. All right, fair enough. But you're telling me that this guy didn't do anything at all from a state tax standpoint. No. This sounds wrong. This sounds very, very wrong. Okay, this sounds very wrong. You're telling me that this guy with 30 years of experience just completely wrote off your state taxes or your business taxes, but he made sure your federal was on the up and up. That means he was screwing you from the hop, knowing that in a couple of years this was going to catch up to you, which is the narrative that I think you're trying to push. The problem is it still doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound right at all. Especially since the guy is older, you know what I'm saying, and you find that not to say that just because he's older he wouldn't rip you off, but unless you came in there really treating that guy like an arrogant prick, he has no reason to screw you over. What reason would this man have to go at you like that, Phil? And that's why this needs to be broken down into a couple parts, because we got to break your story up and try to figure out what the situation is. Let's continue.
Federal level, you're good. So, thank God, 2 tax attorneys now are telling me that my major taxes were done properly. Fuck, that would have killed me if I thought that was the case. My God, can you imagine that? That would have been tens of thousands of dollars, and that would have been it. That would have been the end for me, completely. The thing I'm nervous about, 2 things, okay? Number one, what's going to happen when they finally determine how much I actually owe for these supposed back taxes, and how am I going to pay it? What's the payment plan going to be? How much a month? Especially now that I'm living month to month as it is with the money that I'm making. And number 2, what's this upcoming looming payment going to be on January 31st that I'm going to owe? Because I don't know yet. I'm supposed to find out probably sometime in December. All right? So, ladies and gentlemen, the good news is, at least these past couple of months have been good. If you guys haven't noticed, things...
It's not going to be that good because you didn't save any of that money. That money's gone. At least the way you're making it sound like. You're making it sound like all that money from the last month or 2 is gone. So how's that good news then, Phil? If you're talking about the moral aspect of it as, oh, people have been coming out and doing this and doing that, great. But what happened to the actual residuals from all of that? That's gone. You have no money, remember?
Have been up. I've been telling you guys things have been up. I just did that special promotional event with Twitch a month ago, and I made some money doing that, additional money.
It doesn't matter because it was all spent.
That normally would not have been in something for me, so I made some additional money there.
Yeah, again, doesn't matter. It's already spent.
YouTube in the month of October was up. Sadly, now in November, it looks like it's back down. But for the month of October, YouTube was up, and I made some extra money there. And you guys, with your support on streams, have been contributing significantly as well, to the point where it's helping. Okay? It's helping. But I'm being real here with you guys. I don't, like I said, I don't have the full story. I can't give you the full information. I don't know what I owe yet. I don't know when it's going to be due. But it looks to me like if I just keep making what I was making this year, I'm screwed. And literally, I have no way to pay it. So more than likely, what would end up happening is I'm going to get hit with a giant bill from whoever this is, business department or whoever they are. Here's your bill. You owe this many thousands of dollars. And I'm going to say, sorry, guys, I don't have it. But what I'm going to have to do is sell my house. It's the only money I have. I have equity in this house. The good news is since I moved here in 2014, the equity in this house has gone up. I don't know exactly how much. I know a few houses in this area have sold for a lot of money, but they weren't necessarily in this complex, so I don't know what my house would sell for. In addition, selling the house is a very time-consuming process. I have to get the house ready to be listed, which is going to take at least a month to start selling shit out of this house, right? I have to sell all the furniture. I have to sell all the shit that's in the house to get it sell. I have to have people come in and start preparing the house, which I don't have money, so I don't know how I'm going to pay people to come in and have the house ready to be sellable. Just the walls of this office has all this soundproofing foam that's stuck to it. It's going to destroy the paint. I'm going to have a full paint job redone on the house and everything. I don't have money for it, so how am I going to do that, right? And then
So you're going to need to do a fire sale, basically, on all the stuff in that house. I already told you that. Then you're going to have to, as it pertains to having the house brought up to standards, meaning that having the walls painted, having it be furnished so it can look presentable for upcoming buyers or whatnot, you could theoretically pay those people out of the residuals for the house being paid for. There are people who do that, and there are companies do that. There are companies that are willing to have that happen, almost kind of like an IOU. There are places that would be willing to do that. You might have to put a little bit down to kind of on good faith, but there are some places that will do that. What are your other excuses, Phil? We already know that you're not wanting to leave that house. You'll die before you leave that house. So what about the condo in Connecticut that you said you can't sell? You got to do something now. Why not do that? If you have to take that at a loss to help you save this house in Washington, then that's what needs to happen. You hate Connecticut anyway. Apparently, anybody and everybody has screwed you over in Connecticut. So why not just get rid of that last vestige that you have there beside your parents and being that condo and use the proceeds to try to save your house in Seattle. Or save your house in, Seattle, Washington. Why don't you just do that? DSP News.
I'm going to have to put the house up for sale, right? List it. See what happens. Will it get listed? Will it get purchased? How quickly will it get purchased? How much money will I make on the purchase? How long will it take for me to actually get the money from the sale of the house? Then I got to worry about finding a new place. I got to figure out what I can afford. If I can afford a place out here, a smaller place, or if I'm going to move back all the way to Connecticut, right? It's fucked up, man. It's fucked up because, again, I told you guys months ago, all right?
The rantings of like a 5-year-old. This has nothing to do with me. I did nothing wrong.
The hell, you didn't do nothing wrong. You messed up from the jump. When you tried to evade taxes in the first place, you screwed up. Don't get me wrong. People move around into different states for different reasons anyway, but you didn't even do your own due diligence to make sure that you were going to be covered. All you did was jump from one state that had taxes to another state that had taxes. Nothing changed. You were better off staying in Connecticut. In truth, you wanted just to get out of Connecticut because you had alienated everybody there who gave a damn about you, and you wanted to move clear cross country where you thought you were safe. You'd made some mistakes since day one. From day one, you made a bunch of mistakes. And yet again, the real winner is, one of the real winners, I should say, is Leanna. Panda Lee. She got out of this hellstorm before shit really hit the fan. I mean, I know you may have questioned her intelligence a couple of times, Phil, but she wasn't that stupid. That's for damn sure. She got out of there when the getting was good.
I paid a guy with 30 years of experience who assured me he knew what he was doing to do my taxes properly, and he did not do due diligence when I moved across the country to make sure I was doing my business taxes properly.
He didn't even do research at all. He basically just said, there's no state income tax, you don't owe it, and he never went the next step. Now, 3.5 years later, he's shirking all responsibility, like he never told me that he could still be my tax attorney.
And you're not going to hold him accountable for it. So yet again, that's your fault. Yet again. Second, you should have done some footwork on your own to cover your own ass. That's your problem. You want to throw money at everything and think it's okay. And it's not. Fucking asshole.
which is insane. It's absolutely insane, okay? That's the situation I'm in. I can't sue the guy because I have no money to do it. Any money that I make has to go towards whatever I owe these taxes before I think of anything, right? Before I consider anything. So, that...
This really doesn't sound right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure Snort Burnell's already said this. Actually, I know he did. I'm pretty sure it was on screen. But I'm definitely going to say this to you now. If that house is not sold, this was all a lie. And whatever cover story he has, if you guys are a Phil supporter, whatever cover story he gives you for not selling that house but yet getting all that money from you, it better be good. It better be good. It better be damn good. Okay? It better be amazing. And you want to know, and you know what you guys should ask for? If you guys are Phil supporters, ask for some paperwork. Because right now, some of the stuff he's saying, he needs to provide some paperwork. He can blacken out like names and certain stuff like that, but just the actual general clarification of what his circumstances are, that shit better be on Twitter. And it better be on Twitter soon. Because he's really asking you guys to go on blind faith in a story that doesn't really sound right. And he spent 2 months building this up. And he would point it out every once in a while, but this was built up to something. You know what I mean? So if that house is not sold, ladies and gentlemen, and you know, Brightside Viking, Golden Colt, or whoever else are the big gunners, his big supporters and main gunners over there, don't collectively come up with this 10 grand, and that house isn't sold, there's a problem. I'm just saying, ladies and gentlemen.
That's the position I'm in. And the problem is, it's a short time frame. Like, basically, I'm going to find out by the end of the year what I owe. They're going to expect me to start paying it back in 2018. Plus, I'm going to have this big payment of whatever they think I owe for business taxes for the whole year of 2017 that I'm going to have to pay by the end of January. And then I'm going to have an ongoing payment of whatever this back taxes are every single month. And then, by the way, I still got to pay my federal taxes. Those haven't changed. So I'm still going to have to pay that on top of all of this. So it's ridiculous, man. It really, and just think about this now. Seriously.
You're paying your federal taxes every 4 months anyway. So theoretically, that doesn't matter at all, because you're already paying you're already paying your federal. You just said that not too long ago.
This is what I'm trying to do. Every day I'm coming to stream. I'm trying to put out entertaining streams for you guys and gals. And
You mean by banning people who ask you to do certain stuff? You mean telling people that, oh, I'm not going to do this. This was in the past. Yet coming up with a shitty ass playlist that people haven't heard in forever. You have people who are willing to pay you to go and do movie reviews, willing to pay you, as well as pay for you to go to the movie itself. So they're going to pay you money to do the movie review. They're going to pay you to go to the movie so you can have your movie ticket. I even saw someone post saying that they'll even throw in an extra $20 for you to get snacks, so you're comfortable. And you can profit on it on YouTube and on Twitch, theoretically. And you won't do it. You're an idiot. People are actually to do Cooking with the King again. Okay? People are willing to pay extra money. So they want you to make it a Patreon goal. They want you to make it a Patreon goal. They're willing to pay you the $12.50 for it. So there's your $12.50 there. You know what I'm saying? Because people are saying that when he gets his Patreon money, you get it right then and there. So you have your $12.50. You stream it in the best way possible. Okay? Despite whatever means that you have. You put that, you're streaming it, so you're going to make money off the stream also. You're going to get bits, you're going to get tips, you're going to get donations and whatnot. You're going to put it on YouTube and monetize it. You've been paid multiple times just off that. You won't do it. You have these Patreon goals for games, and you shut down certain games that people really want to watch you play, and you won't do it. Another comment that was left not too long ago was about the whole Japanese games that people love watching you play, but you won't even do that now, even though you had a fan base that was consistently hitting the Patreon goals for that particular genre of game. But you're the one that's supposed to have a business degree. Alright.
Trying to act like nothing's wrong, and I'm trying to act like there's no stress, and I am incredibly stressed to the point where, like I said, I can't sleep at night. I'm not feeling good because of this, and I don't know what's going to happen.
You can't sleep at night is one thing. You staying up all night and getting drunk is another.
Guys, because the thing is, there's no easy solution. There's no easy, even if I have to sell the house, I still can't sell the house fast enough to pay the taxes. So there's no way to do it. No matter what, I'm going to get screwed somehow. The question is, what's the degree of screwing I'm going to receive? Okay?
You don't want to be butt fucked. Trust me.
Am I going to get a minor screw job where they're very nice and they give me an easy payment plan that's not an exorbitant amount of money every month? They understand the situation, or are they just going to say, fuck you, and just hit me with thousands and thousands of dollars of tax bill and just pay it, and if you don't pay it, fuck you, we'll keep accruing fees on it. You know what I mean? This really sucks. This really fucking sucks. And again, it's not, you did nothing wrong, I did nothing wrong, I did nothing wrong. I did everything correct, legally.
You have to be brain dead fucking stupid to believe that.
Everything was right, and now I get fucked. On top of all the shit that this thing I heard this year.
I'm more about looking forward than looking back.
YouTube ad revenue plummets. Machinima relationship falls apart. Get fooled into trying to join an MCN on YouTube that promises me the world and lies to me, so I have to quit and go back to cursing immediately. Breaking up with my girlfriend, fiance. Oh, by the way, I didn't even mention false copyright.
You catch that little chuckle that he did after the girlfriend fiance thing? Yeah, let me bring that back for you guys for a second.
Looking forward than looking back.
YouTube ad revenue plummets. Machinima relationship falls apart. Get fooled into trying to join an MCN on YouTube that promises me the world and lies to me, so I have to quit and go back to cursing immediately. Breaking up with my girlfriend fiance. Oh, by the way, I didn't even mention false copyright strikes. Remember the false copyright strikes I had in the summer, right? That almost shut down DSP Gaming. Forgot to mention those. Getting signed up for all these business mailings and basically being registered, even though I'm not, as a business in Washington, even though I'm not a business. You know what I mean? Which then tips off, because an anonymous tip, gee, I wonder who that was, who tipped off this business department that supposedly I'm doing business.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, Storm Burnell brings up a very good point here. He says that is that possible that someone could basically register you as a business with your name and address without any identification or anything else to back that up? So, for example, where is this dude from? I think they were saying, I think Sam Samosa. I think they say he's a big Chicago Cubs fan, but he's actually from like California or something. Let's say, for example, if he wanted to, could he have taken Phil's name and I'm not saying that he did this, by the way. I'm just bringing him up as an example. Could he have taken his name and address and registered Phil for a business in California, even though Phil doesn't live there, without any type of identification whatsoever? Is that possible? No, I don't think it is. I think that's absolutely preposterous. Phil would have had to sign some type of paperwork for this to happen. Even the person who signed him up for all that free publication or whatever, that's no big deal. It really isn't. You could probably easily do that if you just went online. But the point is that someone would need his name and address. So does that story really make sense to you? It doesn't. No one went out there and registered him as a business. It's not that easy. He had to have done that on his own. The question is why?
To Washington and not paying taxes, and now on top of it, and then health too. Like I said, some health stuff's been coming up too. It's all at once. It's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, what the flame? And
another point that Storm Burnell makes: all of this sounds strange. Besides the fact that he lies about everything, but didn't he not say? Well, Storm Burnell says he remembered a while ago him talking about registering DSP Gaming as his own brand or something along those lines. I do distinctly remember that. Also, I just don't remember where I heard it. If you do remember, please leave it down in the comment section below, the link to the video, or even the Twitter post if he said it on Twitter. I'd very much appreciate it. But none of this sounds right. None of this sounds right at all. But he spun the narrative just enough for these kids to believe it. But none of it sounds right. DSP News.
Fuck am I supposed to do? You know? What did I ever do? What did I ever do to anyone on this planet that they would literally try to end me? This is what this is. Because it wouldn't end. Even if I lose the house and I move back to Connecticut, they still will get out. They'll still come for me. They're still gonna. You know what I mean? It's not gonna end. They're still gonna be coming for me.
Their money, give their money. Then that's all I care about. Anything for this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the situation, everyone. So honestly, first of all, I want to say to everyone, thank you.
Thank you, you fucking worthless humans.
Because this year, the streams have been a relief. Me coming to stream and sharing gameplay with you and having fun with games again has been a fucking huge relief for me. With all the shit and stress that's been going on behind the scenes. It's been really hard to keep this story in for 2 months. and not tell you guys anything about it. It really has. And by the
Either that or it's hard for you to weave the story together. And the thing is, Phil, is you have to know, I'm not going to do it because I'm way too lazy. And I'll be honest with you, here at GTG Network and Productions, they don't pay me enough to do that. Someone's going to go ahead and backtrack and try to find this. If you are registered as a business in the state of Seattle under DSP Gaming or DSP Enterprises, someone's going to find it. Someone is going to find it. If that's true. So if that part doesn't come back on the up and up, Phil, you're gonna have something to explain, because they're gonna splatter that all over the internet if that doesn't come up. There's a bunch of holes in this story here, a bunch, and we're only and as it pertains to Snort Burnell's video, we're only 28 minutes in, and a lot of what you're saying just doesn't sound right. It's not really clicking up together, and I haven't even done any research yet, at least not enough. Or at least not enough into the later parts of your story to try to corroborate any of it. I hope for your sake this is right, man. I hope whatever money you're hoping to get out of this is worth it, because, someone in my comment section recently said that you'll always have the last laugh and you'll be up here forever. We'll have to wait and see.
way, don't plan on me giving you many updates unless I have concrete ones, because, I don't want to just keep dragging this along. I don't want this to be the subject of every stream. I just want to continue like I've been doing and having fun with gameplay or whatever. I don't want it to be every day talking about this shit. Alright? And I want to say, people are being tremendously generous right now. You're seeing people are subbing and tipping, and I appreciate it. I really do.
I don't understand what they were thinking. Some people are just fucking idiots. What else can I say? You gotta be an idiot.
And that adds up and helps immensely. Don't get me wrong. This helps immensely with all this shit going on. The problem being, I know I'm gonna owe thousands of dollars, and if someone just said in the stream chat something, doesn't Phil have one really?
So basically, what he's saying is, it's not enough money. Give me more. Gotcha. I got you, Phil.
Exorbitantly rich fan who could bail him out. I'm not asking for that. That would be so. I'm so grateful you guys have saved my fucking ass this year so many times already, and made the streaming so much more fun and just everything. That I would feel fucking bad if I was here asking you for that. That's crazy.
What?
Alright? All I can ask you to do is to keep doing what you've been doing, and we just gotta see what happens. Alright? We just gotta see what happens. We gotta play it by ear and see what happens. Shout out to Floyd Sucks, who tipped me $2.
Well, guess what? You're a fucking idiot.
Shout out to Mushtaba, who did a 10-bit cheer. As a kid, you prove it's not a business and not have to pay the 3 years of unpaid business tax. No, the point I'm making is, if my tax attorney from Connecticut did due diligence and did research, he would have found out that people who make certain kinds of money have to be registered as a business, and I probably was supposed to and didn't, and that's why I'm now responsible for this tax, and it's his fault, because if he had done that research up front, the day I moved here, I would have registered as a business and started paying the tax, and I didn't, and it's his fault.
The country of Afghanistan tipped me $50. I love it when I see the stupidity. A pimp-ass bitch tipped me $100. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is where some of the money's coming in. This is what Doom had talked about earlier on. And like I said, I'll have some screenshots throughout the video where you'll see what kind of money he made off this event. This was successful. If it's a con, it was successful. If he was really trying to drum up support, it was still pretty successful. And then Doom also brings up another point, that he's going to be playing Call of Duty World at War 2 this weekend, as well as Battlefront 2. That's going to be a major salt fest. DSP himself has announced it as being a big salt fest. So he's going to drum up a lot out of this. This is going to be interesting. All right, let's go ahead and see where the money's going to come from, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Are you a functional retard? I have to ask.
Why? Oh, a troll tip of $2, so I ignore you.
Why am I toxic?
Astro Jet Boy did a 10-bit cheer. He says, does it feel a little better getting it off your chest? It does. You know it does. Even though I know saying this and getting this off my chest isn't going to help anything. Now it's hot in here, by the way, that's why I'm opening the door again. Even though I know it might not make anything better. It's better at least get it off. Now you guys know what I'm going through. You guys understand what's happening, You understand why some nights I can't fucking sleep. Am I close to the last night in my house? This is bullshit, But it does feel a little better to finally get it off my chest now that you guys know what's going on. Although I couldn't, again, the health thing, I can't reveal everything. At least now you know partially what's going on.
Unbelievable how people get fooled by this shit. Seriously, I'm going to need you guys' help. I really am. I'm going to need your support. I need it. There's people who depend on me. What? There's people who, they find me, I believe, as an inspiration. What? I've been doing this for 10 years, and every possible fucking thing that's been thrown at me, I've found a way to get through. I've got to find a fucking way to get through this. I have to.
Phil's my daddy did the 10-bit cheers. Let's buy a lottery ticket this week. I buy a lottery ticket every week. Once a week, I buy a lottery ticket just in case. Because, hey, that's $1 or $2 a week. Maybe one day, right? Fuck, man. And honestly, and I'll be real with everyone. If I ever hit the lotto, you know, first thing I would do, turn off Patreon, turn off cheering, tipping. I don't need your money. I'm here to have fun. And I would not stop making streams. I would still be here. I would still be here because I love it.
I love doing this. I love doing this. I love streaming. I love talking to you guys. I love gaming. I did it as a hobby before I did it as a job. I'm here because I love what I fucking do. Not this. And that's why all this is so bad. Anything for this, right?
Yep.
IRS came for DSP to the 16-bit cheers, and it's okay, Phil, we love you. YOLO Dobber to the 10-bit cheers. Didn't you research what that Washington takes business tax? That's pretty much like your state tax in Connecticut.
Exactly.
Dude, I am not a tax attorney.
You don't have to be, you idiot. What you're saying is the equivalent of anybody else who pays taxes, federal or otherwise. I'm not a tax attorney. I'm sure most of you guys who are listening aren't tax attorneys. I'm sure most of the kids he's getting ready to siphon money out of, their parents aren't tax attorneys. So that doesn't exempt you from that.
I am not a tax attorney. I had a tax attorney who I paid to do that for me to make sure I'm doing it right. Why would I then go and research it myself too? That's the point. That's why you pay someone like that lots of money to do the right thing. Why am I toxic? Your bully, your what? Your bull Tyrone did a 30-bit cheers at Fappy Wanks Giving. Oh my.
How's it going, Tyrone? Tell Pedro I said what's up.
God. Golden Colts just did
And tell Leanna I said hello to.
845-bit cheer. You're an idiot. You paid me money. All of your mothers just tipped me $100. This guy fucking sucks my dick. That was delicious.
Thank you, guys. Fuck. Thank you. Wow. It's still going. I can't stop. You guys keep going. This is amazing.
Oh my God, he's got another $100 tip from the king. He says, stay strong. Thank you. I got paid for your stupidity.
Thank you, guys. Fuck. I'm so overwhelmed. I'm so tired, but I'm happy that I got off my chest and you guys are being supportive and, you know.
Are you fucking serious?
Thank you, guys. Wow. Thank you. 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 Thank you.
If I could get down on my hands and knees and say thank you and still be on camera, I would do it. Okay? I seriously would do it. Oh my God. Fluffy Shits just tipped me $100. Thanks for the money, stupid fuck.
Who? Negate. Just tipped me $10 this Happy Thanksgiving, Phil. Thank you, everyone.
Good job. Thanks for the money. You're stupid. Thank you, Dooley, for a $5 tip. I appreciate the tip. And I'm $5 richer, so thanks, moron. Thanks for the money, dummies. Because that's exactly what you fucking are. A bunch of fucking empty-headed idiots who paid me money to get absolutely nothing out of it. Thanks.
Sadly, in some cases that might be true. Shit.
Wow. I prefer...
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to head over to David Davidson's video. And I'm going to try to find that small sound bite where he talks about his taxes and how he was using things for the business to write off. So give me just a second and I will be right back.
Like, what the hell is this, man? Are you serious? Like, what could this be? Could this be true? This is bullshit. And immediately I read it. I'm like, well, I don't own my own business. I don't, I'm not registered. I don't own my own business. I don't. Legally, there's no business out there that's called DSP Gaming. DSP Gaming is just a YouTube channel, right?
Okay, so now what we're about to listen to, I should say, is from
sources, or you receive
it's
certain
from
tax
April,
documents
my bad.
from the people who you have contractual agreements with. Shit. And immediately I read it. I'm like, well, I don't own my own business. I don't, I'm not registered. I don't own my own business. I don't. Legally, there's no business out there that's called DSP Gaming. DSP Gaming is just a YouTube channel, right?
All right, this is from April 20th, 2007.
There's tons of tax
April 20th, 2017 is the soundbite you're about to hear from.
write-offs for the self-employed. For example, anything that I buy that's related to the business, a video game, this controller,
the cost of ink for the printer that printed out my questions for Ask the King or has anything business related, the cost of electricity in the house, the cost of the internet for the house. All these things are tax deductible, meaning I have to pay for them, but I cannot be taxed on them, meaning I will not have to pay taxes for the amount of money and stuff that I spend on the business. So if I reinvest money into the business, it helps me because it allows me to pay less taxes on a yearly basis. There's no business called DSP Gaming. It doesn't exist.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So that was the last soundbite. Thanks to David Davidson for that. Very much appreciate it. There's a lot here, to be honest with you, to take in. So much so, in fact, that there's just a lot that doesn't sound right. So, as I told you, as I said, we're going to break this up into 3 parts. The next part will be, how did this happen? We're going to try to go in, excuse me, and we're going to try to dissect a little bit of what Phil has said here, and we're going to try to work out something. We're going to try to make this, at least as best as I can, make it make sense in some way, shape, or form. You guys have anything that you want to contribute to that video, excuse me, by all means, you can leave a comment down in the description. Let me know what you think. Let me know how you feel. You can paint a scenario. By all means, go ahead. And it might make it in the video. More than likely, I will just put it in the video. I appreciate when you guys contribute. And, yeah. Phil didn't pay his taxes. It's not his fault. Buggy taxes. Buggy tax attorney mechanics. It's all going awry and whatnot. And this was an hour and almost 25 minutes. It's a really long time to sit with you guys, but I really I enjoy it. Kinda. Yeah, I enjoy it. And tell me what you guys think down in the comment section below. Like I said, there'll be 3 follow-ups to this. The next video, we're going to go over what he said about Black Friday before we get into part 2. So we'll see what he says about Black Friday and how his situation is. I'll try to have as many screenshots to as much information as possible from Twitter. Dragon Killer, Eddie B. I think it was the last guy's name was it like Crybaby? Was it like King of Crybabies or something along those lines? I apologize if I got your name wrong, man. I mean no disrespect to you. I'll try to have all of their tweets up there in the video as I've been doing lately. If you guys can find me on Twitter, by all means, if you do, just say hello. I'll try to say hello back. And that's it. I'll see you guys later on, man. This is just, it's stupid. It's so stupid. There's no way that he's this incompetent. And if it's true, it's still stupidity. If this is a con, this is going to have to be his last one, because there's no way anybody's going to buy it after this. He's overplayed his cards on this one if none of this is true. And as some of the great people of the Detractor kind of scene will tell you, Mr. Stuffs, David Davidson, DipShitPhil, who else do you got up in there? You got a lot of people up in there. Just all of these great creators will tell you there's something. Snort Burnell, there's something very wrong about this. So I'll leave it for you guys to decide. I will see you guys in the next video when that comes. Ladies and gentlemen, please remember this is DSP News. Always late, never breaking, unreliable coverage that you can't count on. A GTG Network and Productions. And I'll be signing off.
Cash rules everything around me. Green, get the money. Dollar bill, yo. Cash rules everything around me. Green, get the money. Dollar bill, yo. Cash rules everything around me. Green, get the money. Dollar bill, yo. Cash rules everything around me. Green, get the money. Dollar bill, yo.